Good morning, Keep It Crazy family. It's kind of a sad morning. So, you know the little plants I've been trying to keep alive for those of you who've been with us? And that one over there is thriving. And then we thought, okay, it needs more sun. I think I gave it too much sun. So he was leaning like this. And I was like, oh, what's wrong with him? And he didn't survive. So he was not sprouting like I was hoping so. Half of my project is still alive though. So that's a positive in this thing. We tried our best. Good morning, Keep It Crazy family. So I know the other day we kind of were like, hey, we're getting a new kid, and showed, putting her bedroom together. But we haven't had much more detail than that. So there are a few things I can explain and I want to explain about this whole situation and kind of where it is at right now. Real quick, I know everyone asked bedroom wise what was going on. So we did put her in Aurora's bedroom. We did move Aurora's room, but also her and Savannah they get along really well. They're absolutely amazing, but they have decided to share a room. We did get a couple clips of them moving the room, or moving Savannah to that room too. So here's those clips.
All right, guys. So Savannah and I are finally parting ways.
Is that something to be happy about?
No, I'm so sad. I'm losing my roommate, but I'm getting my own room. Woo! And then there's Addison. You guys have met her a few times. Anyway, so we're gonna be moving all of Savannah's stuff right now. Savannah has work at 5. What time is it?
2.
2? So we have 3 hours. I don't think it will take that long. I think it will take like 30 minutes. It shouldn't take that long, so we're gonna get started now.
Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Dive in at first and all of it. Oh, what a rush looking into your eyes.
So excited.
Playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine?
It is currently like 20 hours later. Just kidding, like 10 hours later. It's 12 a.m. Let's put it at that. We finished a while ago, but we all like separated, did our own things, and just end up finishing up with this segment. I just have to put away this pile of clothes and then do this laundry. And then my room is ready for the room makeover.
So today, something I thought that I would do also is put together a little welcome home basket or a little welcome basket. And so we are going to run to the store and get some things to put together, just like a care package, because when a lot of kids come into foster care, they don't really have a lot, and they don't really have like basic things, or things that make her feel special that I think she'll really enjoy. So we're going to put together that basket, but I'm going to talk along the way so I can explain stuff. I know a lot of you have so many questions, and I saw so many that are like, whose biological sister is this? What's the situation? Like, what's going on? You guys said you were done, fostering, adopting, those kind of things. I promise they will unfold over the next few months as everything falls into place, as I feel like it has fallen into place anytime we've gotten one of our forever kids or a kid that's meant to be ours. I feel like everything just works out. So there's a lot that I can't say at this point, or we don't really feel comfortable with talking about, but there are also some stuff that we can talk about. And so one of those things is, a lot of people said, whose biological sister is this? And we can say that it is Jake's biological sister. And then I know a lot of you had questions like, why didn't Aaron come camping? Was he never planning on it, or whatever behind that? So no, Aaron was fully prepared to go camping, and he actually had his pillow, his toothbrush, like everything in the car ready to go. And then that morning, as we were getting ready to go, Jake had gotten a text, and I can't really talk about the situation, or I'm not gonna, disclose any private information with that. But Aaron was like, I'm gonna stay behind to see if it ends up happening like that, or if it doesn't. And so, but Aaron's like, if it does, like, you know, Jake and the sister will just come up camping with us, was the plan. But as things unfolded, it was getting later in the day, and just, yeah, the way that it unfolded, unfortunately, he couldn't just come up. So he was back taking care of stuff like that. That's why the camping trip was cut a little short, because I wanted to get back so that we could get everything settled and into place and kind of see how everything was going to unfold. Another thing with that, and a lot of people are like, I thought you weren't foster care licensed. You said your foster care license was closed. That is 100% true. We are not a licensed foster home, and we do have an adoption license open. But even that, we were going to adopt Tristan, and then we were going to have it just expire at that point, because every 18 months you have to renew, you know, your adoption license. Anyways, that being said, because we have adopted Jake, they placed her with us as a kinship placement. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically like a family placement. It's like they consider us her family. And with those, they are done a little bit differently. And so I will explain more about that, but we were at the store, so we are going to head inside right now and start putting together this welcoming basket, and then I'll explain more. I still can remember our very first foster placement, and she didn't come with any clothes or anything. And Hallie was like, oh, I'll give her my clothes. And you went and you put her shirt. She was only 3, and Hallie, I think, was 5 or 6. And you like put your like oversized shirt on her, and like you were so like, oh, like you can have anything you want. And then we went to the store and had to buy a bunch of clothes. But we thought a water bottle, with how much we do in the summer and different activities and everything, it's so nice to be able to carry a water bottle. But as you can see, there are no water bottles. So, well, there's little ones. I don't know if she'd like that. Her favorite color is blue, and she does like red. So I was hoping to find something in that aspect, but we may have to go to a different store for that.
So what's so funny is that I feel like we have a new little like teenage girl group. So it used to be me, Hannah, and Ariana, but obviously we've all been like living life as adults. And so now the new era of teenage girls is here. We have Yuritsa, Savannah, Bella, they kind of hang out, but Bella kind of does her own thing. And then
It's like Bella's turning 18 in a couple weeks and kind of been doing her thing and starting college soon.
what are we calling her on the camera?
Just new daughter. We don't have.
So the new girl group is
We can't say her
Savannah,
name.
Yuritsa, and new daughter.
New daughter. And
Yeah.
they hang out. Yeah, they've been hanging out nonstop. It's really sweet. Where is the chip aisle? We just didn't make it far enough. Sorry, Max. We just did a circle. So we're still learning about our new daughter, what she likes. But we were at the store the other day, and she did get some hot Cheetos. So
Should I like the regular or the lime?
listen, she likes hot Cheetos. I don't know the difference between the flavors. I don't. I don't eat hot Cheetos personally.
Lime's always good.
I feel like everyone likes these, right? Is that healthy to eat?
No idea.
Glow in the dark? I don't know if that would be healthy to eat. Did they show up on a CT scan? There's a glow. So we are going to put some basic items that you just need. So we're going to get some deodorant, some shavers, things like that in there. Do you like the native one?
No, I've never used it.
Really? The girls, Bella loves it, Hannah hates it. So we're 50-50.
That's quite the
It's all on you, Max. Here's our basket. Deodorant.
Hot Cheetos and deodorant.
Not Cheetos. We're getting there. I know the girls all love the.
We were floating down the river in your red canoe. You were laughing at my stories, all back from my youth. Yeah, and I remember thinking to myself that you were the one. Oh, you were stunning, you were lovely.
So we feel like we did pretty good on the basket. We do want to go somewhere and get a water bottle to add to it, and then we're gonna just add a couple of gift cards. A lot of times, and again, a lot of this I'm talking in general, not necessarily about our current situation, but kids do, a lot of our foster kids that we've gotten in the past have a hard time asking when they need something, or asking for things, or knowing your response and how you respond to things, and just encompassing all of that. And so sometimes gift cards are a little bit easier, because then they could go to the store and pick it out and feel like they're paying for it themselves, and not feel like, a lot of them will feel like a burden or whatever, which is so not true. Like, obviously foster kids are not a burden, it's just they feel like that inside because of things they've been through in their past.
High places all low, sun blazing.
So the difference between like kinship, foster, adoption, because there is slight differences between the two. So a foster home is basically a licensed home that is able to take in kids that are like first coming into foster home, kids that have been in foster, kids that are, it also doubles as an adoption license when you're foster care licensed. So it can be used as that. It's all encompassing, I guess, is what it would be. You also have a foster care agency that comes out and does regular visits. They keep on top of everything. It's just your very licensed compliance under that. An adoption license, so you still have to be compliant, like obviously fingerprint clearance, they do backgrounds and home studies, and there's a whole bunch of things to get licensed for any of these, but an adoption license has all of that. The difference is when we took in like Lucas and Savannah, and same thing with like Bella, Liam, and Ryland, they had already been in foster care for so long that their rights were already severed from their parents. So technically the state is their legal guardian, if that makes sense in all this. But anyways, so when they came into our home though, it was like an adoption placement. And so we all had the intention, everyone knew like, okay, this is, an adoption thing. Same thing with Evie. So there's that part. Our current situation, it is when a kid is coming into foster care, a lot of times, or they're supposed to, try to reach out to family, someone that the kid already knows, any kind of family members, close friends even they can consider, but they are a little bit more strict with those. But anyways, they try to do that because obviously it's the best case scenario if a kid knows where they're going and know who they're being placed with. There's less trauma involved of just being dropped off at a stranger's. So, but with kinship placements, you're not technically licensed through the state. Like they still come out and do a home study, they still come out and do all that, which they're going to be doing next week. But we are adoption licensed, so we do have everything already in place. But I know some people are like, oh, you're just doing this for money, and like, no. And especially kinship placements or even adoption placements, you don't get paid the foster care rate, which I've talked about is around $600 a month. That's in Arizona. I know every other place is different. But with kinship, you're not paid really anything. Sometimes they will put like a clothing allowance in, which is just a little bit in when they first get placed with you, and you can get that allowance every year. It's like $150. But yeah, so anyways, that's on the kinship side of it. Real quick, we're running to another store to see if we can find a water bottle, so we're driving there right now. Another question that I know we're gonna get is, why did you not adopt Jake's bio sister in the very beginning when they were young? As you guys know, Jake came into our family when he was just 5 years old. He was really small. She would have been 3 at that point. And to answer that question is, foster care is super complicated. And we did ask the caseworker if we could adopt both of them. Their situation was a little different because they had been in foster care for so long and were supposed to go back to bio family. And so without going into the full story details, we did try. But unfortunately, we fought for that, and that is not how it ended up working out. I do wish, like in hindsight, looking at it now, I do wish if we could go back in time, I would have fought harder for that. I do feel like bio siblings need to be together, and I will say them even being placed together for these few days that she's been here, like to see their bond and their connection and them helping each other and talking and just all of that, it just like warms my heart. And it's just like, I do feel like we go through different situations in life that make us stronger, or life lessons, or whatever the case is with that. But I will say, I do feel like everything works out, and I do feel like this is working out this way for a reason.
Frost and blur to catch the spring.
Okay, we did end up finding one in her favorite color. We got a blue. So perfect. We're gonna put the basket together and go give this to her. All right, her basket's all done. I feel like it turned out really good, so I'm gonna go up there and give this to her in just a second. But I wanted to take a second and answer some of your questions that you had the other day. I've been trying to explain as much as I can. Okay, first question. Why do you always say you're not adopting anymore? Then all of a sudden you take in another kid, and then they said it's probably Evie's sister. Here's the answer to that, because our lives are always changing. Here's the thing is, we did not seek this out. We did not like go on a foster care list. We aren't even licensed for foster care. We did not, I don't know. If that makes sense, we didn't go and seek this out. This came to us. And I feel like that's always when I know like it's meant to be, though, is when you don't seek for something, or you don't try for something, or it's like in relationships, they say as soon as you don't look for one, all of a sudden one just like comes, you know, that kind of thing. And I feel like that's what this is. And the other thing that I want you guys to like understand is that this is like our actual daily lives. And when we film a video, we may feel one way, and we may say like, hey, this is what it is. And then life throws curveballs all the time, as you know, and things come up and situations happen, and it's like, oh, didn't see that one coming. But I'm also super, super grateful. And on the other end, like, why this situation, how do I explain it? I didn't see this situation happening, and it never even like crossed my mind that this would happen prior to about January, February, where I got an unexpected call. And then I was like, oh, is it gonna go there? And then all of a sudden it wasn't. And I'm like, oh, okay, which is why I said in that video, like, we're not adopting, like it didn't go that direction. But now things turn. And I feel like a lot of people are like, you guys are liars. And it's like, there was another comment though that kind of summed up. And I think from now on, this is how we're gonna word it. Hold on, I just saw it. It says, can you just admit your door is always open? Your family is endless in potential and number. And I think from now on, when people say, are you gonna be adopting anymore? It's gonna be, you know what? Wait, I can't even think how that was worded good. Our door is always open. And I feel like while we're not seeking out to adopt another child, and why we're not like in the process of adopting, our door is always open. And so I feel like after Tristan's adoption and maybe our new daughters, that's how we're gonna answer that question, is our door is always open, but we're not like seeking it out. Okay. Anyways, on another note, another question that came up is, are we going to be adopting, or how did they word it? Are you just fostering or adopting? Either way, congratulations, thank you. We don't know. And that's the thing, as I was trying to say with like Lucas and Savannah, like we went into that situation hoping to adopt them, and it already being that potential. Right now, this is just the very beginning of a case and of a situation. And so do I hope we can adopt her? Yes. Like, I'll be 100% honest. I do hope that it goes that direction, and that is the direction that everyone in our family is hoping for. However, I can't say for sure that we are, because her rights aren't severed and we're just kind of in the beginning of everything. So the best I can answer is we are just fostering her right now. Technically not even fostering, we are a kinship placement for her right now. Is this why in a previous video, Aurora said she wanted a new sister named Belle? And yes and no. We had talked about it on the way to camping, which is why that was in Aurora's mind. However, Belle is not her name. So, okay. And then I want to talk a little bit about Jamie, because I saw a couple questions. This one says, notice that Jamie came with grandma. Is she hiding Jamie again because of the new placement? No, Jamie is still living here. We are still planning on building the tiny homes. I don't know what the kids are doing over there. Something's going on. Okay, so when it comes to Jamie in the situation, and we had talked about this in a previous video, that because DCS had taken Aurora, the caseworker that we were working with, it actually was our adoption caseworker that we were working with, I feel like maybe just didn't understand the situation, because we did adopt Aurora with Jamie being in our house. So it is kind of a caseworker thing depending on the situation. However, we have explained everything to the new caseworker, and everyone is good with everything and our current situation. So no, Jamie will not be hiding, or whatever you guys said happened. That is actually not how that all happened. Our Jamie's room had gotten flooded, and she had moved in with Grandma temporarily, which is when all that started happening. Again, I feel like things happen for a reason and kind of like fall into place and those kind of things. But in this situation, and it is also not, I saw another question about, is this why we moved to the house we moved and why we're doing the tiny homes for Jamie? And no, it actually had nothing to do with that. We didn't even know the situation was happening when we moved into this house. And or when we decided to do Jamie a tiny house. The reason why we want to do that is we want Jamie to have a permanent place that she can feel like is her own and have kind of a little bit of independence, but still also be around, and safety wise is in on our property, and able to come eat dinner and like able to be a part of everything, but then also be able to have a little bit of space on our own. If we do end up moving houses in the future, which I can't say, again, I'm not gonna say this is my dream house, we're never moving again, because it's not the case. I don't feel like this is my dream house. But the cool thing about the tiny homes that we are building is they can be picked up and moved to wherever. So it can be like a permanent place for her. Also, another question, I'm just trying to ramble off some of the ones I've seen recently, but another one was the tiny home, or the destination trailer that Max bought, was the one that Jamie originally wanted, and Lucas actually, and it didn't end up working out because they changed numbers and were a little shady. But why didn't we go that direction when Max was able to? Max did go through a different company, but when we were doing more research and more everything about those, we didn't feel like they're good long-term living. And like I said, Jamie is planning on being in this tiny home forever. Like, she is so excited and wants it so bad that I felt like the destination trailer isn't for like long-term living, like forever, you know? And so, and say Max knows he's probably gonna live there like a year, maybe a year and a half, and then plan on buying another home. And so that's why, and also the insulation and just different things with it, we just didn't feel like for Jamie that it was a good solution for her in the long term. Okay, I've been rambling for a while, I've been explaining stuff for a while. There's so much, and like I said, there's a lot that we can answer, a lot that we can't answer. Knowing things I know now, I will say, like, if you are going into foster care or you're in the foster care process, I will say, even if a caseworker is like, no, I'm not going to do that, or no, it's not, you know what I mean, whatever, I would say, as far as like keeping siblings together, as long as it's safe and healthy to do so, that you fight for that. And that it's, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I always took the word of the caseworker when I was first doing foster care. But I also, looking back on it now, like, I wish if I could do anything differently, I would not take their word at face value. A lot of them will say certain kids are this way or that way, or they put labels on kids. But when you look further into situations, you're like, oh, I wish they wouldn't label it like that, or I wish, you know what I mean, that you'd look at situations differently. I know I've said this story before, but we had this little boy, and his bio mom was extremely violent. And they were always like, oh my gosh, he's gonna grow up to be such a bad kid and hurt others and whatever. And so I went into the situation looking at it like that. So anytime that this little boy would do anything, I was like, oh my gosh, like, see, they were right, you know. And it was just normal kid behavior. And looking back on it now, like, how wrong that mindset was to take what the caseworker said, and I just wish I would have came at it differently. I think there's a lot that I would change. I don't know if I could go back and do foster care, but we are done doing foster care, kind of. Also, with this situation, we've known Jake's sister since she was 3 years old. Like, we've known her for years and years, and her and Jake's relationship has really developed over the last couple years, and I really love that they were talking a lot and just whatever with, and just all of that. Also, another thing is, I'm not going to come on here and talk bad about anybody bio parents or anyone's adoptive parents or anyone. This is a really sensitive, you know, subject and sensitive situation, and I'm praying for everyone involved, and it's really heartbreaking, and I hope the best for everyone. So anyways, if you guys have more questions, let me know down below, and I will do another video where I explain more stuff if there's different things that you guys want us to explain, at least as much as I can. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all next time. Bye.
La 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 la. What's your deep question time? If your belly button were a USB port, what would you download?